Good evening. The news summary. The Health Ministry has announced a raft of new measures to combat a sharp rise in COVID cases. Tough new restrictions will be enforced as the number of active cases in the country tops 1,000, and extra hospital beds have been made available as the facilities elsewhere are reaching capacity.
Firm measures and strict enforcement with immediate effect. That's what the Health Ministry laid out this morning live on TV. Schools will be shut for nearly 3 weeks until May the 24th, and most public events, sports and meetings are cancelled. The Public Health Commissioner said all gatherings such as parties will be banned, both indoors and outside, along with households mixing. And all shops, bars and casinos will have to shut by 7 o'clock in the evening. It comes as the country deals with 1,068 active COVID cases, which is up by around 500 in recent days. Dr. Gédéon confirmed the family hospital isolation unit was operating at capacity, and Anse Royal Hospital has now been made available for additional cases, providing an extra 20 beds. On the day after World Press Freedom Day, there was tension afterwards as reporters were urged to practice patriotic journalism and denied enough time to ask all their questions.
The Finance and Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly, the FPAC, has had to suspend its sessions planned for this week, following new measures announced by the Ministry of Health, following a surge in COVID cases. The FPAC's chairman, opposition leader Sébastien Pillet, says the committee must abide by the measures. However, earlier before the suspension, members were able to interact with representatives from the Agency for the Prevention of Drug Abuse and Rehabilitation, APDA, and the Enterprise Seychelles Agency, ESSA. Both the entities say they are doing their utmost to abide by recommendations set out in the auditor's report. PUC's Chief Executive Officer has responded to householders' concerns that water and electricity bills are soaring. Philippe Morin says the problem stems from underestimating bills during the last COVID restrictions. He said meter readers have been visiting people's homes again, and actual readings are leading to higher bills. Plus, Mr. Morin says the domestic tariff rose by 55 cents per unit in the first 3 months of this year.
In January, the tariffs for electricity went up by 30 cents per kilowatt hour. In April, for domestic customers, it went up by 25 cents. That means in a period of 3 months, the electricity tariff went up by 55 cents per kilowatt hour. And that's considerable. We understand that. And then we have the situation where families, the children, the whole family has been at home under virtually a sort of quasi-lockdown because of COVID. And whilst they were at home, consumption went up. And some families are finding this considerable, too much to bear. We understand the difficulties, but we are trying to be as flexible as possible. We are trying our best to explain to the families, the customers, really what's happening, hoping that they will understand the situation and eventually find a way to settle their bills.
The police have reported that a 43-year-old Russian man died following a fatal accident last night in the Anse Royal district. The accident, which was reported to the police at around 10:50, involved a Russian, the driver of the car, and a small bus. The Russian man was certified dead at Anse Royal Hospital around 11:20, while the driver of the bus received medical assistance for the pain he said he was feeling in his head. At the time of the accident, the bus was heading south, while the car was going down towards Anse-Aubin. Police say they are investigating the case, and whilst awaiting the autopsy result to establish the exact cause of the accident. Following this second fatal case, as well as occasional rains, the police is asking motorists to be more careful on the roads. Climate change, economy and freedom of speech were areas of discussion when the ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Martin Brewer, met President Waverlon Calawan and Vice President Ahmed Afif at State House this morning. Seychelles and the Kingdom of the Netherlands established diplomatic relations since 1977. Ambassador Brewer said his meeting with the President was fruitful and the two countries are ready to work together to further strengthen ties between the two countries. The ambassador was accompanied on his visit by Foreign Affairs Minister Sylvestre Radegonde and Seychelles Honorary Consul in the Netherlands, Irina Udwadia van Altenborg. Ambassador Brewer is based in Nairobi, Kenya.
We share the environmental problems that are coming up with rising sea levels. It's a main concern in the Netherlands. So in terms of environmental policies, there was a lot to exchange. We're also a country that attaches a lot of value to human rights, and we were briefed on the progress being made by the government. We were also briefed on how the government would like to move beyond in the next coming months and years. And we discussed also issues around the economy, what is at the moment at stake. And in all those conversations, of course, COVID comes back, something that struck hard in the Netherlands, but also struck hard here at Seychelles. And we share there, and we stressed the necessity of international solidarity. Also discussed with the Vice President the intentions, let's say, on policies with media and freedom of expression, and I think we're totally in line with the approach. Sometimes still some actions and measures have to be taken, but it has also to do a lot with building the trust in society, that you respect each other's opinion and deal with that. And I got the impression that the government is working hard towards that.
To observe World Press Freedom Day, which was yesterday, May the 3rd, the Association of Media Practitioners Seychelles, AMPS, along with the French Embassy in Seychelles, organized a conference for journalists from all media houses. The theme for this year was Information as a Public Good.
Seychelles chose to address the subject fake news as, like with the rest of the world, it is a major concern. The journalists present were able to interact virtually with Arnaud Frouget, who is responsible for the African Bureau of Reporters Without Borders, RSF. He urged the journalists to notify his office when faced with any challenging situation. At the end of the conference, the participants signed a copy of the Declaration of Rights and Responsibilities of a Journalist, a declaration which was mutually agreed upon. The declaration was also signed by the chairperson of AMPS, the Media Commission, and the French ambassador to Seychelles, Dominique Mas.
And with this, we come to the end of this news summary. At 8, we'll be back with the news bulletin in Creole. Have a pleasant evening.